So, I don't know if you've figured it out, but one of my favorite things to watch is wrestling, right? But I'm at the point, I mean, that's really with anything in my life where I have the time to watch it, but I'm just too, like, lazy to really dedicate my time to sit down and watch it, you know? For instance, I don't watch really any of WWE, like the SmackDowns or the Raws, but I do watch the pay-per-views when they come on. I'll take some time off, order pizza or something, maybe invite some buddies over or go over to their place and go all out. Yeah, it's fun to watch that shit, you know. AEW, I'll the shows, I'll watch them a little bit more. Was it like Rampage and Dynamite? Not really the YouTube shit, whatever, but the pay-per-views, yeah, I'll go out of my way sometimes to watch them the same way, but man, they're like $50, and all the WWE shit and events are on Peacock for like $5 a month, so that shit, you can't beat it. I love a fucking good deal. And man, even on Peacock, I can watch the old WWF stuff, and there's even a recent documentary that came out on Peacock about Barney the dinosaur. You remember Barney? Man, the scandals and stuff, and behind the scenes shit. And I'm gonna watch that, man. That is exciting me, or at least it looks good. I hope it's good. You know, as a kid, I loved Barney. I remember this one white VHS tape I had with purple font, and it was like Barney Saving Christmas and something like that. And I would watch it over and over and over again. That and The Lion King 2. I would watch Lion King 2, Simba's Pride all the time. Not so much the first one for some reason, just the second one. So yeah, wrestling's pretty much my number one. I've resorted to just listening and reading news and highlights and stuff, or even just Jim Cornette's podcast, because he's hilarious, just the shit he says and the way he talks about it, you know. That's the stuff I've gone to. Other combat sports, I guess that's what they're called, right? I don't really watch the UFC, but I'll go out of my way to YouTube and just search bar crazy knockouts or knockout highlights, you know. And I always think it's all rowdy when a person, it could be a girl or a dude, gets knocked out and they're like on the ground, obviously knocked out, all out of it, and that fighter like goes in, dives for that one last punch or two or three, and it's just like, oh shit. I kind of love it though, you know, but it's fucked up, but it's a train wreck, and I love it. Even like street fight stuff. If you've ever watched Street Beefs, just regular street people hashing stuff out, or, you know, those kind of like underground local fighter and mud show stuff where they're in a dirt field around a chain link octagon with sheets of plywood, you know. And there's a dude on there called Baby Hulk, and he's their he's their top champion, and he looks like a little midget Kimbo Slice. But he's right in the middle of being too tall to be a dwarf but too short to be a regular human. This little black dude's all ripped, and he messes people up, you know, like a chocolate looking Yoda from Soul Calibur 4, or like a black odd job from GoldenEye 64. You know, that short height is actually his advantage when you think it wouldn't be. But yeah, Street Beefs is good. It's something to watch, I'll say, and it's real, you know, quick little chunks. There's also those slap fight competitions where, I don't know, where men or women are just at arm's length. They wind up and then they just slap each other with baby powder on their hands, so all this shit explodes and looks all graphic, you know. And they do it until the other person passes out from the slap, you know, from that big hit. Whatever, you know. And I remember looking it up, and there was really a professional pillow fighting league, and like, it was professional. It had sponsors and a ring and announcers and matches with like ex-Marines that were training to KO with pillows. And I was like, man, like, I was looking forward to it. It sounded interesting. on paper, but then you watch it, it's just boring. Like, how do you knock someone out with a pillow unless they have like a really glass chin and you hit them just right and hard enough to like peedaloo, 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 peedaloo. I kind of miss bum fights too. I remember seeing that as a kid. And you know, bum fights back then, those guys had a lot on the line. What was like a sandwich? You tell them whoever wins gets a sandwich, and it's like, all right, this is the big one. This is for our lives. A lot is on the line. It's all over just like that. I also saw some where MMA fighters were inside of a British phone booth, and already that sounds better than Friday night pillow sissy fights. You know, have them fighting in a British phone booth all constricted and shit, and you kind of get the Doctor Who fans to watch, you know, because they love that TARDIS. And then after you get the Doctor Who fans, you get the House of Dragon fans because of that guy who is from Doctor Who, who's one of the doctors, right? I kind of know a little bit about it. I haven't watched the new House of Dragon show. I hear it's good. Something about the greens and the blacks. I'm pretty sure that's a racist thing. But I mean, that's how I would interpret it, because I'm just always super racist. I remember watching the original Game of Thrones, and you know, it's I guess classic. It's, you get all into it. It's fucking good, and especially if you're like me and into inbred cousin sex, and it's you know, pretty good. It's got a lot of that. And I remember watching it when I was on a free trial for like a month with HBO, and I ran out of my trial before the final season came out, and I just was like, oh, should I buy HBO, blah blah blah. And and I heard the final season sucked, so I didn't even care to watch it. I don't want Game of Thrones ruined for me, I guess, seeing it. I don't know, maybe it isn't that bad, but I have yet to watch it. So it's like, should I finish the original one before I watch this new one, or is it a prequel so I can just kind of not care and start this over? Like, what's fair, you know? I'm just trying to do the right thing. I don't want to lie. I don't want to cheat or steal. Rest in peace, Eddie Guerrero. Ho 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 ho! It's Mr. Steele. Ho ho ho! Ho 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 ho. Oh, also, and real quick, I think it's like Suicide Prevention Month, and there's a number that you call if you feel suicidal, right? Like, I'm not gonna call because I don't say I'm suicidal, but I'll say like you do get to those dark points where it's like, well, why should I live? It's not about like, oh, I'm going to kill myself. It's more like, well, why am I existing? But what does this line do? Like, you call and then they tell you, hey, everything's going to be great. You know, sunshine, lollipop, rainbow. I don't know. I feel like suicide is a battle you obviously have to fight alone, and you have to kind of know what you're worth. You can't just be tethered to someone else and they say, oh, you got support, you're good, everyone's good, you're good, we're here for you. But that person has their own life. They can't just be there for you, you know? And the only thing support I feel like you can have is, of course, if someone else is fighting those battles as well, like maybe suicide or something else worse, they're there for you, but they can't help you, you know? Like, I know how you feel and the battles you're facing, but all I could do is be here while you face those battles, but I can't help you face them, you know? So, I don't know, is that suicide line just like a scheme where it just, you call it and it just gives you, you know, like cheap life advice, like, oh, you're doing great, hang in there, keep it going. I don't know. I just don't get those hotlines and all that. And of course, with everything now, there's so much affordable therapy and all that. But as a person who's had thoughts like that, those are battles unfortunately you have to face alone, you can have support and someone be there and know how you feel, but ultimately you have to find the support within yourself. And if you're ever feeling that way, I recommend reading a book. And it sounds so fake coming from me. There's a book called Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. And that Viktor Frankl was like a Jewish guy who was in the Holocaust, and his whole family died, but he survived. And from what I take from the book, because it's just his journey of, trying to survive the Holocaust, and what was the point if you all were going to die, he didn't know, and his whole family's dying. The point I got from it is every day, no matter how you feel, you need to have something to look forward to, whether it's the littlest thing, like, oh, I'm going to have a package delivered today, or I'm going to create this task and complete it, or I'm going to go say hi to someone, or I have something to look forward to. Whatever it may be, the biggest thing or the smallest thing in the world, the least important or the most important, always have something to look forward to. And it'll give you a reason to live, So I would say with these commercials that say, you matter, everything's great, you matter. Don't think that, like, I already know, like, me, myself, I'm a shitty person. Like, I'm not saying my family would hate if I was gone, but I'm not like a good person, So I wouldn't say I matter in the spec of, like, the universe. But you yourself, that's the battle you have with your own self, and you have to be able to face it head on and beat it. But, know that you're not alone. Like, I'm facing the battle just like you might be. So you're not alone, but you have to fight it yourself. Whether you're a green or a black or whatever House of Dragon fan you are, you have to face these battles alone. And just know that you're not alone. You are, but you're not. Because there are people out there that feel the same way you do, but we all have to fight this alone. And there's always something to look forward to. The smallest thing it could be, the biggest thing. There's always tomorrow. And thank you for being here.